Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss some of the questions from international relations that have been asked in Civil Service Examination 2020. If you see that trend, every year they are asking you questions, but in the past few years, the questions were very straightforward. This year also, some of the questions are very straightforward, and some of the questions need a little analysis. And like the previous trend, we are getting 4 questions. So this time again, we have got the 4 questions. So let us take the questions one by one. What we are going to do here is, we are just trying to understand the question and how to approach it. We are not going to discuss the full answer, like how we are going, what we have to write. We will be just doing a little bit kind of a framework thing, and then how to approach. That is the main thing. We should understand how to approach an answer in your civil service mains examination. So let us take the questions one by one, and we'll also try to map the questions with the syllabus also, whether they are directly from the syllabus or whether the question is from the current related to the topic which is given in the syllabus. So let us take the questions of IR. Number 1, question number 9. The question has been, critically examine the role. Examine. It is critically examine the role of WHO in providing global health security during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is 150 words question. So if you see this question, critically examine the role of WHO in providing global health security during the COVID-19 pandemic. This question was highly expected, and as we have been facing COVID for the almost last 1 year. So this year, all the 3 papers, GS paper 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one is right now ongoing, so I cannot predict on that. But yes, all the 3 papers, we have questions related to COVID. And here again, it was WHO was highly expected, and fortunately, we have got this question also. We have discussed very widely about WTO, pandemic and all those things in our classes also, and everybody was expecting this question. So this has come, but the thing is, has it come directly from the syllabus? WHO has been in the news. So is it something which is from the current, or is it something which is there in the syllabus also? So in the syllabus, there is a line, when you read the IR syllabus, there is a line which says that international organizations, bodies, forums, their mandate and structure. So every year, if you see for the past 3-4 years, they have been asking questions from this. And the bodies that they are asking are generally from the current. Like this time, WHO, the international organizations. So WHO they have asked, it has been in the news. Like last year they have asked a body called UNESCO, because US has withdrawn funding from the UNESCO, so it was in the news, so they have asked a question. So before that they have asked a question with respect to United Nations Social and Economic Council, because there India became a member that time, so they have asked the question. And before that, like in 2017, if I rightly recall, they have asked the question on WTO, because of the US and China trade war, it was in the news. So the trend is like the part of the syllabus says international organizations, and seeing the last 3-4 years trend, they are asking about the bodies which are there in the news. So WHO this time. So now let us come to the question. So this is a question from your syllabus. What the current organization they have asked. Critically examine the role of WHO in providing global health security during the COVID-19 pandemic. Very straightforward question, and almost everyone would have prepared for it. It is saying critically examine the role. So we have to critically examine. Critically means it is saying, if you read the statement, role of WHO in providing global health security during the COVID-19 pandemic. So what role it has played in a positive manner and why it has been criticized. So to begin this, what we can do is how to approach. We can talk about the current pandemic as an introduction in 1 or 2 lines, or we can talk about WTO as a UN body which is mandated to secure the global health. So what is the mandate of WTO? You can write 1 or 2 lines and begin your answer with this. And then the role of WHO has been criticized this time. So why the role of WHO has been criticized? You mentioned about that. So why it has been criticized? Just a kind of a in the pointers, I am not going to dictate you the answer, but yeah, pointers. Why? Because it has taken a lot of time to declare it as a pandemic. Had it taken the decision or had it declared it pandemic on time, then this much of loss of life would not have happened. So one criticism is like it has taken a lot of time to declare it as a pandemic. So why has it taken a time? It was also criticized that it was shielding China. And even country like Taiwan has informed WTO about such mishappenings which were happening, but the WTO did not take the prompt action. Though Taiwan is not a member, but according to your International Health Regulation 2005, even non-member can provide information. But anyways, we are not going to discuss much about it. But yes, the point is it has delayed the decision of declaring it as a pandemic. Even in spite of getting the tip-off from Taiwan, it has not taken the prompt action. It has shielded China. That was being criticized. And then why the decision has been delayed, it has taken so much of time to declare it as a pandemic, what are the reasons behind it, that is also not in the public domain. There is a complete opaqueness about the decision making of WHO. So these are some of the criticisms about WHO. But if you see the other side, then we briefly we can also mention about the other side is like when it has declared it as a pandemic, from that time till today, WHO is playing a very, very important role. So WHO is playing very, very important role, especially for the poorest and the most vulnerable people, most vulnerable countries. It is providing awareness, it is running awareness campaigns, it is providing training, equipments to healthcare workers, it is providing funds to the vulnerable countries, poor countries. So all kind of assistance it is trying to provide. It is from time to time it is giving mandatory regulations, regulatories, and it is giving you all updates across the world what is happening. It is also playing an important role in the development of vaccines. So WHO, though it has been criticized for the delay, but still WHO has played a very important part during this whole pandemic period. And then in the end, if you want, you may conclude by just giving few of the suggestions. Like we say that we should not abruptly end up the answer. So what you could do is you could just briefly give some suggestions to how to bring improvement in the functioning of WHO, because without WHO के बिना जो है आज के time पे it is really very difficult for the countries to coordinate on the health issues, on the health grounds. So we need a body like WHO, we need a global platform, but with time this body also, because this is a very old body, so with changing times, with the changing health emergencies, with the changing globalization of health emergencies, we need to bring certain reforms in WHO. So you can talk about like there should be proper funding mechanism, because funding के चलते ही क्या होता है कि जो biasness आ जाती है WHO या किसी भी global body की, because it starts listening to the countries which are the main funders or the donors. So funding mechanism may we need improvement, then transparency in decision making should be there, and then there should be a permanent standing body so that in case of emergency it can take quick action. So You can give few of the suggestions and you can end up your answer. So this is a very straightforward question. Critically examine the role of WHO in providing global health security during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it is 150 words. So 150 is the maximum words. So you may write a very good answer with 130 words also. It's not necessary to stretch unnecessarily your answer to 150 words. So this is the first question. Now let us take the second question from Aya. It is saying, Indian diaspora. Indian diaspora has a decisive role to play in the politics and economy of America and European countries. Comment with example. This is again, if you see, diaspora is a topic which is given there in the syllabus. So this is directly from the topic which is given in the syllabus, and it has asked about the Indian diaspora has a decisive, this is again a 150 word. So Indian diaspora has a decisive role to play in the politics and economy. Politics and economy of America and European countries. Recently, we have witnessed the US elections and we have seen the rise of Kamala Harris as the first lady and first black lady to become vice president of United States of America. And it's not only Kamala Harris, there are so many people who are prominent figures in the American politics, and similarly we have seen prominent figures in your European countries also. So these figures have been like Rishi Sunak from UK, who is stated to be, or who is taken as the successor of Boris Johnson, the present PM of Britain. So there are many prominent figures. Satya Nadella is there. Then we have so many business people who are in the news. So diaspora is one thing which has been in the news, and especially your America and European countries, the people, the Indian origin people are too much in the news. Very often they are in the news. So that is why the question has been asked. And last year there was no question in diaspora, but before that there was a question with respect to your southeastern diaspora. ठीक है, इंडियन डायस्पोरा साउथ ईस्ट का जो डायस्पोरा है, आपका साउथ ईस्टर्न रीजन्स में जो डायस्पोरा है, तो सिमिलरली द ट्रेंड इज दे आर आस्किंग डायस्पोरा विद स्पेसिफिक रीजन्स. एक बार आपका जो है साउथ एशियन डायस्पोरा की बात कर ली, एक इस बार दे हैव आस्क्ड अबाउट योर अमेरिकन एंड यूरोपियन कंट्रीज का डायस्पोरा. सो द ट्रेंड दैट वी आर विटनेसिंग इज लाइक दे आर आस्किंग इंडियन डायस्पोरा with respect to certain regions. Maybe they might ask about Indian diaspora West Asia. Maybe they ask about Indian diaspora in many of the littoral countries. So this is the trend that we are witnessing with respect to the diaspora. Now, diaspora has become very, very important in the recent times, especially after coming of the Modi government in 2014. It has become a very important tool in India's foreign policy. हमारी जो फॉरेन पॉलिसी है उसमें डायस्पोरा एक बहुत ही इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले कर रहा है. तो डायस्पोरा हैज़ बीन इन द न्यूज़ for constantly 4-5 years, and the question has been there. We have seen Howdy Modi, we have seen Namaste Trump. So we have seen the role of diaspora, how important is the role of diaspora in the politics and then in the economics. So that is why the question is there. Now the question is saying Indian diaspora has a decisive role to play in the politics and economy of America and European countries. Comment with example. Now another thing is, it is saying America. It is not saying USA. Otherwise, in one of the questions with respect to US, they are asking you, they have written USA. So, America means here you can include Canada plus USA. Okay. Even in the recent times, we have witnessed that the farmer protests which are ongoing currently around the Delhi NCR region, we have seen that the voices have been raised in US, voices have been raised in Canada, voices have been raised in UK. So this is what is the importance of diaspora, growing importance of diaspora. So, Indian diaspora has a decisive role to play in the politics and economy of American and European countries. Comment with examples. So, here you have to give the names, if you could recall the names of some of the prominent figures from your industry as well as from your political background. So, we have seen names like you can talk about UK. UK में अभी जो सबसे आपका ऋषि सुनाक is there, then Priti Patel is there. So many Indian people who are there. Then business उसमें भी आप जाओ तो right from your Swaraj Paul, Lakshmi Narayan Mittal. So many people are there. Similarly in US की बात कर लो आप तो Kamala Harris is there. Then we have other people also. We have people like Neeraj Shah is there, Jay Chaudhary is there, who are from your economic then Sundar Pichai is there. Then apart from that, Tulsi Gabbard has been there. So people from across the Democrats and Republicans. So there are so many people, so many industrialists we can name, we can talk about them, and you have to give example like how important and how important positions they are holding. So that is what is the demand of the question, like Indian diaspora has a decisive role to play in the politics and economics of America and European. So why they have a decisive role? That is why we have seen the events like Howdy Modi, we have seen the events like your Namaste Trump in India, we are seeing the voices against the farmer protests in your Canada, in USA, in UK. These are some of the examples to substantiate that they are playing a very decisive role in the politics and economy of these countries. And in the economy of these countries, because we have so many, like Silicon Valley is an example where we have so many Indian origin people who are there. Silicon Valley is because of the Indian origin people who have who are working there and who have put a lot of efforts in making Silicon Valley a Silicon Valley. So we can give different examples to substantiate that how important role the Indian diaspora is playing. And you may begin this answer may begin, I am saying it's not like compulsory like you have to begin like this. You may talk about that Indian diaspora is the largest diaspora in the world, and over the period of time the Indian diaspora has gained its prominence, or it has stretched in across the globe, and at the same time it has reached greater heights also. So, and then you can give examples, and in the end you can always talk about that Indian diaspora has changed the image of India. They play a very important role in, they play a very important role of a soft power tool for the development of India also, because they are providing us with remittances, they are providing us with investments, and at the same time they are also lobbying for the many of the developmental projects in India. Like we have an example of your civil nuclear deal with USA. Indian diaspora has played a very important role. So you may begin with this, or you may end up with something like Indian diaspora is the largest diaspora. Anyways, but the thing is, the main content should be Indian diaspora has a decisive role to play in the politics and economy of America and European countries. So America could be your Canada, USA, European countries could be your UK and other European countries, or your the countries where we have the European origin population, extended European origin population. We can even talk about New Zealand and Australia, where we have the extended European origin population is there. So these are the extended countries. So there also you can talk about very briefly, but mainly concentrate on America and European countries. एक्सटेंडेड में अगर आप बात करते हो तो न्यूजीलैंड में भी रिसेंटली वी हैव सीन 2 Indian origin people have been elected to the parliament in New Zealand. So Indians are playing a very important role, and this also shows that the Indians are being respected, they are being trusted, and this also shows that role in politics and economy shows that the Indians are being trusted and Indians are being respected for valuing the democratic values. है ना, हमारी जो democratic values है वो हमारे में ingrained है and that is being trusted in other countries also. आप चाइना के एग्जाम्पल ले लो, चाइना का कोई भी आपको डायस्पोरा किसी कंट्री में इस लेवल तक वाइस प्रेसिडेंट और समवन who is stated as the next PM of your UK, this kind of stature we do not see in the Chinese diaspora. They might be into business, but they are not into that politics thing. But Indian diaspora is a diaspora which is highly respected. People have trust. That is why they are getting elected also. So Indian diaspora is playing a very decisive role, and this is very good for India because it is giving a high value to our soft power tool, or soft power diplomacy. Now let us take the third question. The third question is question number 19, which talks about Quad. The question is Quadrilateral Security Dialogue is Quadrilateral Security Dialogue is transforming itself into a trade bloc from a military alliance in present times. Discuss. So if you see this question, this is again from, the question is very much from the syllabus only, because the syllabus talks about your bilateral, regional or global grouping. So Quad is one such example of your groupings, and Quad has been in the news because during the pandemic we have seen the South China Sea. In the South China Sea we have seen China's aggressiveness there, and again Quad has been in the news, and for the first time Australia has also participated in the Malabar exercise, which is one of the 4 pillars of the Quad, but it was not a member of Malabar. So Quad, because of various reasons, Quad has been in the news now, and because of the growing India and US relationship, Quad has always been in the news. So this was expected and it has come also. So Quad is transforming itself into a trade bloc from a military alliance. In present times, discuss. Now, in present times, we have to discuss like how Quad. So if you see, let's briefly discuss this question, and then we can just very briefly talk about like how we could like approach this question. So Quad is transforming itself into a trade bloc from a military alliance. When we speak Quad, generally what comes to our mind is that it is a military alliance, and because we always say that Quad, Indo-Pacific जो है आपका region में, वहाँ पे security के लिए we need Quad, we need USA, we need Japan, we need Australia, we need India to come together. So that is why this Quad has been there. So generally what comes to our mind is that it is a military alliance. But the question is saying that now it is transforming itself from military to your trade bloc. Now, when the Quad was formed, the main purpose of the Quad, the idea was first given by Shinzo Abe in 2007, and then 2017 it got finally materialized or operational, whatever you say. So Quad is basically the group of the 4 countries. They came together when we saw, or when this group saw, that there is a challenge to the freedom of navigation. Sea lane of communications are facing the problem of freedom of navigation. So the 4 countries have come together to contain China, to contain the rise of China, to contain the more assertiveness of the China in the South China Sea. So that is why the Quad actually got operationalized in 2017, though the concept came into being in 2007 only. So Quad is transforming itself. So when it was formed, if you see the basic purpose of Quad, the basic purpose of Quad is to contain China. So contain in which areas? One is your strategic importance, जो है वहाँ का geostrategic importance है, where China is now growing its tentacles, वहाँ पे उसको contain करना, and even also the economic growth of China. So that is why Quad was formed. It was never only a military alliance. ये शुरू से कभी भी सिर्फ military alliance इसका purpose नहीं था. The purpose was to contain China in this aspect also, and at the same time उसका जो economic growth हो रहा है इस region में उसको भी contain करना. And this region is very, very important because there are 2 very important sea lane of communications, and these are also called as they are also taken as the choke points. Your Malacca Strait is there. So from Malacca and Sunda Strait is there. So these are the 2 important choke points, and they are very, very important for China, for Chinese trade. That is why now China is looking towards your Gwadar to bypass Malacca and Sunda Strait. So that's a different issue. But the thing is, we need to understand that the purpose of Quad was not only to military. First it was military, or the foremost it is to strategically contain China. उस geography को पहले उसको अपना पकड़ के रखना है Quad को, ठीक है, उस geography में China को contain करना है. So when they have done it, so what is the next? When you have the control over the geographical area, so what next? The logical step is economic. From geography, we move towards your economic area. So here the 4 countries, they are also now, the Quad itself is now moving from your military alliance towards your trade bloc, because सबके लिए this is a very, very important area. For Japan also, for Australia also, for USA also, this is this area, and India also. So Indo-Pacific is very important from economic perspective also for all the 4 countries. So freedom of your Indo-Pacific is very, very important. So first, आपने military उसको militarily we have contained. Quad has contained the growth of China, and the next logical is to go for the trade bloc. And economic partnership gives a more strength. Quad को भी अगर सिर्फ वो military alliance बन के रह जाएगा, even India does not want Quad to be seen as a military alliance. India has never talked about that Quad is a military alliance. It has always talked about that Quad is talking about freedom of navigation. It does not want that India to be seen as a anti-China in this Quad membership. So India never wanted that Quad should be taken as a anti-China grouping. So we always wanted that Quad should, and we have always talked about that Quad is about freedom of navigation. Quad is about the freedom of your economic development of this particular Indo-Pacific region. So that one of the reasons India has been always talking about the trade thing also. So now we are moving towards your trade bloc also. The Quad is moving towards trade, and we have the examples also. Like recently we have seen during the pandemic, we have seen Quad Plus. We have seen how the Quad is now increasing the membership. the Quad Plus, we have seen it's not a formal grouping, but yes, Quad Plus has been there in the recent time. We have seen New Zealand has been involved here, then your South Korea has been there, Vietnam has been there. So this Quad Plus, at the time of pandemic, we have this Quad Plus. The purpose was to help each other in containing pandemic, containing COVID-19, and after containing COVID-19, to work together for the economic recovery post-pandemic. So when the Quad Plus, the agenda is to work towards the economic recovery after the COVID. So economic recovery itself is showing that it is now becoming a trade bloc. Even other countries in the region, like the last Quad meeting which was held recently in the month of November, it was held in your Thailand during at the sidelines of your East Asia Summit. So this also shows that the other countries are also supporting this, because over the period of time now, slowly from a military alliance, it is moving towards a trade bloc. So this is what the question is saying, that you have to discuss that how Quad is from military, it is moving to trade. So in the very first initially only you can mention that Quad ka main purpose was military, but at the same time it was not only military but also your economic development in the Indo-Pacific region. And then how to handle this question. So Quad is transforming itself. You may begin by talking about what is a Quad. You may talk about Quad. 2007 में idea आया था, 17 में ये it has been implemented, and the main purpose is this. But over the period of time, we are seeing that from military to this, how it is moving. So you can give examples how the different countries in the region are also, some of the ASEAN countries are also supporting. That is why Thailand has allowed the Quad members to meet on the sidelines of the East Asia Summit. Then Quad Plus has been there, and we have clearly talked about here that we will be working for the post-pandemic recovery also, economic recovery also, and India also wants that Quad should not be taken as an anti-China grouping. So these are some of the, you can give different, you can give some of the examples to substantiate that how it is moving from a military to your trade bloc. And then in the end, you can always talk about that Quad has the military, you can say the characteristics, but at the same time, it's good that it is moving towards your trade bloc, because when you are economically integrated, the group becomes more stronger. And when a grouping is more towards your economic grouping, other countries would also support the group. So that is a positive sign. You may end up like this. Now let us take the last question from IR section. The last question is, or the fourth question that is there, it is, what is the significance of Indo-US defense deals over Indo-Russia defense deals? Indo-Russia defense deals discussed with reference to stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Discuss with reference to stability in the Indo-Pacific region. So this is 250 words question. So again, if you map this question with the syllabus, then we have a line in the syllabus which says that effect of policies and politics of the developed and developing countries on India. So US ka defense, like US policy towards India, and we have gone for defense deal. Similarly, we have India-Russia defense deal is there. So now the question is, what is the, because Indo-US has been, defense deals have been in the news. Recently, for the past 3-4 years, we have seen that India and US have come very closer with respect to your defense sector, especially with respect to your defense sector. So what is the significance of India-US defense deals over India-Russia defense deals? Discuss with reference to stability in the Indo-Pacific. So this significance, that why US defense deal is much significant to India or more significant to India than the Indo-Russia defense deal with respect to Indo-Pacific region. So that is the demand of the question, like in the Indo-Pacific region, why do we need US more than Russia? So if you see, for the past few years, we have seen that we have signed some of the very important fundamental defense agreements with concluded some of the defense deals with USA. We have signed LEMOA, we have signed SISMOA, COMCASA has been there, BECA which has been recently signed, then 2+2 mechanism has been there, 2+2 dialogue platform we have been doing with USA. We have been planning this with Russia, but it is yet to materialize. But yes, with USA, we have seen even during the pandemic, even the defense Foreign Secretary also visited, the US Foreign Secretary just before the US elections. Mike Pompeo, he has visited India to sign some of the defense deals. So this shows that India and US defense related things have been in the news, and India has become a very important defense partner with USA. So the thing has been in the news, and that's why the question is related to current. But the base of the question is like policies and politics of the developed and developing countries. So anyways, what is the significance of India-US defense deal? So over the period of time, last few years, we have seen that we have signed many of the defense agreements, some of the fundamental defense agreements like your BECA, COMCASA, SISMOA, LEMOA. So we have signed it with USA. Now the question is, why it is important when we talk about Indo-Pacific? तो यूएस वाला जो डिफेंस है वो हमारे लिए क्यों इंडो पैसिफिक में इम्पोर्टेंट है? यूएस वाला डिफेंस जो है हमारे लिए इंडो पैसिफिक में इम्पोर्टेंट है बिकॉज यूएसए के लिए भी इंडो पैसिफिक इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज ऑफ SLOC, सी लेन ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, यहाँ पे फ्रीडम ऑफ नेविगेशन. एंड इफ यू सी द ज्योग्राफी, if you see the geography, Russia does not have much stakes in the Pacific region. So it does not need, there is no direct route with India in this particular region. And moreover, when we see the Indo-Pacific region, here even USA has a natural interest in this region. India also has a natural interest in this region, and this region has a dominance of China. China is showing its aggressiveness in this particular region, and China is common for USA. Rise of China is threatening for USA. Rise of China is also threatening for India. So we have a common factor here, that is China. And this region is also very important for USA also, for India also. And because of the geography, if you see the map for Russia, this region is not very important. So defense deal with USA for this particular region is very, very important for us. And moreover, here we have Quad also. To secure this region, to secure Indo-Pacific, we have Quad also here. And when you talk about Quad, Quad has 4 members. We have Australia, we have Japan, we have India, we have USA. So already Australia and Japan are a long-standing allies of USA. So Australia or जो Japan है, they are the long-standing allies of USA. And with these deals, India has also become a very close defense partner of USA. So all the 4 are having the same purpose. China is a common problem here. Australia के लिए भी ये problem है, Japan के लिए भी problem है. This region is very important for all of them. Already these 3 countries are having very close defense relationships. So This deals have also brought India in this particular defense relationship, and with this Indo-US defense deals, through these deals, now we have become more operability has increased between the two countries. Now defense information could be encrypted, information could be shared between the two countries, geospatial informations could be easily shared between the two countries, and this region is very important. So that is why India and US defense deal is important with respect to, in comparison to India-Russia defense deal when we talk about Indo-Pacific region. And then you can but at the same time, if you want, in the conclusion, you may always say that in spite of the growing Indo-US deals, India-Russia is also a very important defense partner. Still, our 70% of our arsenal is Russian, and at the same time, even we have bypassed the US and we have gone ahead with S-400 missile system from Russia, even at this time when we are facing the standoff at LAC. Mr. Jaishankar and our Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, they have personally visited Russia. They have asked them for the speedy delivery of S-400, and at the same time, for the first time, we have the joint exercise between India and Russia, Indira. We have conducted it in our very important strategic location, that is Andaman and Nicobars. So we are into joint production also with Russia. But for this particular region, this US is important, but otherwise, in the end, if you want, you may end up writing 1 or 2 lines that still Russia is also very important defense partner, and we are balancing it between USA and Russia. Though we are diversifying our defense basket, but at the same time, we are balancing it between US and Russia. So to begin this, you can talk about some of the recent deals, defense deals between the two countries, and then why this area is important. Indo-Pacific region and Indo-US defense deal is important in comparison to Indo-Russia. You give your arguments, and in the end, if you want, you can write a balanced conclusion that Russia is still a very important partner. So, as usual, for the past 4-5 years, we are seeing 4 questions. So, we have taken up the 4 questions. So, if you see these 4 questions, what analysis could be taken out is, the analysis is number 1, the questions are not out of syllabus. If you map the questions with the syllabus, you will see the points that are given there in the syllabus, they are directly asking the questions from there. Then diaspora, over the period of time, they are asking you questions from diaspora also, and diaspora may be reason wise they are asking you questions. So, we have to be very specific about Indian diaspora in this region, role of Indian diaspora in this region, role of Indian diaspora here or there. So, we can prepare accordingly. And then the questions which are, or the institutions or the bodies or some of the groupings which are in the news, they are asking you questions related to that. So, this is all about your international relations related questions in CSC 2020 mains.